All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 175-pound division where it is time to get it on. And I ain't trying to hear about it. It is time for Canelo Alvarez to step up and fight Artur Beterviev. And that ain't never going to happen. However, it is what should happen and will never happen. Let's talk about that in this video. There's a lot of talk about moving up in weight and moving down in weight in boxing, and how in order to be great, you have to move up in weight. That's what they say about Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis can't fight people in his weight division. He needs to move up. Got to move up to chase greatness. The backward logic of that, right? So they look and say, hey, Manny Pacquiao moved up these weight classes. Floyd moved up all these weight classes. De La Hoya moved up all these weight classes. Gervonta needs to move up all these weight classes because, hey, man, he's in his weight class just picking and choosing. And we don't want people that are picking and choosing. We want the greats, the ones that move up in weight, because that's not picking and choosing. Big problem. Let's look at what's going on with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez said before the fight with Beterbiev and Bivol that he wanted Bivol next if he beat Beterbiev. And where did he want the fight? He wants to fight at 175 pounds to fight for the undisputed championship of the world if Dimitri Bivol won. Which means what? It means that if Beterbiev won, he doesn't want to fight Beterbiev. So what is that called? That's called picking and choosing when you decide to move up in weight. Now, let's be honest here. We have a lot of liars out here on YouTube. We got a lot of people that try to sell you narratives that they have thought but probably got handed to them by the promotional company themselves. However, everybody that moves up in weight cherry picks when they move up in weight. Okay? Many of these guys have cherry picked when they moved up in weight, because they are not willing at a certain point in time when they get to their fourth and fifth weight division to fight anybody in the division. And that has been consistent with all of them. Okay? Let's go back to the 1970s when there was a light heavyweight that I was really, really happy to talk about named Bob Foster, the sheriff, who moved up in weight twice to fight at heavyweight against Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Guess what happened to him? He got knocked out both times. Why did he go up there? For the money. Did he think he could win? No. Did he try to win? Yes. Could he win? No. Why? Too small. Great fighter, too small. But he went and fought those guys for the bag. And guess why they fought him? They fought him so that Ali fought him because Ali wanted him to get the bag. Okay? Flat out. Ali allowed Bob Foster to fight him so that Bob Foster could get paid. Same thing for Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier fought Bob Foster so Bob Foster could get paid. Okay? So that's two different types of examples. Somebody moving up in weight, right? And not wanting to fight one specific person, wanting to fight another in Canelo, and another one looking at it from the perspective of the person is fighting somebody coming up, where they're fighting the person coming up. They don't have another fight available to them. So they say, let this guy get a payday. And so Ali went about whooping his ass real quick. And Bob Foster loved it for him because he got the paycheck. Everybody else was happy because they got to see the Bob Foster-Floyd fight. Okay? That's what moving up in weight is about. Everybody, now, you don't believe me? Let's look at more examples of people moving up in weight and only moving up in weight to fight specific people and specific people only. Let's look at Roy Jones Jr., who moved all the way up to heavyweight when I do believe Lennox Lewis was a world champion. And how do I know that? Because I was at a fight, the John Ruiz fight, And I remember Lennox Lewis being right there when I shook his hand with his big ass. He's huge. Roy Jones Jr. comes up to about my shoulder. So when you see Roy Jones standing right here, and you see Lennox Lewis standing right there, and he's up, and you see John Ruiz, who is my size. Let me be very clear. John Ruiz was my size. Roy Jones Jr. came up to about my shoulder, little over my shoulder. John Ruiz is my size. We're not that. That's doable for him. What is not doable for Roy is that big ass dude. No way. I'm telling you, Lennox Lewis sitting there was a full 6'6", looked like he was 290 pounds. He was monstrously big, way bigger than me. No way that man, Roy Jones, was going to fight him at heavyweight. But he could fight the 6-foot guy. See, that's what moving up in weight is. These guys are never been moving up in weight to fight any and everybody in the division. In fact, let's go back to the guy that was most successful at moving up in weight, a certain boxer in the year 1936 named Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong fought for the 126-pound title, the 147-pound title, and the 160-pound, the 126, the 135, the 147, and 160-pound championships all in the same year, basically weighing the same weight for all of them. And he defended them, but he only fought the guys he needed to win it. He was probably not fighting the biggest guys in those divisions. He might have, but more than likely was not fighting the biggest guys in those divisions because a couple guys that he fought for a championship, especially the guy at 160 that he beat, but they called it a draw, so they kept him from getting it, was the same guy he had already beaten at 147 for the 147-pound championship, or he had beaten for another belt already. So in his fourth division, he was still fighting guys that were closer to the size as him. So all this myth about Gervonta, about moving up in weight and who these guys want to fight, nah, dude, they're all cherry picking when they do that. Terrence Crawford is doing the same thing. Cherry picking not picking and choosing, not cherry picking because they're not cherries. Picking and choosing who he wants to fight. I'm not saying he's ducking Fundora. I'm saying Fundora is 6'6" though. And that is awkward. And I don't really know about that guy. But Madmarov, I asked more deal. I can do with that a little bit better. That's called matchmaking. People do that. That's a real part of boxing. Doesn't make Terrence Crawford a bad guy. However, when you're looking at Canelo, and the reason why I say, hey, man, it is time for Canelo to fight Beterviev, right? You know these people aren't going to be calling for that. You know they're not going to say that. You know they're not going to say, yeah, Canelo, you said you wanted to fight Bivol. You already did everything you needed to do at 168. There's nobody at 168 for you. Let's move you up to fight Beterviev. You've not heard anybody make that mission statement yet. Why? Because the business interests are not in it for them to do it. You're not going to hear ESPN demanding of themselves to give demanding Canelo to give himself to Artur Beterbiev. ESPN's not going to say that. ESPN is barely promoting Beterbiev at all, even though he's an ESPN fighter. So they're not going to do that, right? Your Matchroom wants Bivol to have the rematch with Beterbiev. So Matchroom and those guys and the media people surrounding them aren't going to push for it. Nobody's going to push for it. The only time you hear this stuff is where you hear this stuff around people that they do not like, right? People that you do not like. That's why Gervonta Davis is going to get that criticism while Canelo Alvarez is not. But again, the fact of the matter remains that when somebody moves up in weight, that's optional for a fighter. It's not mandatory. You can't make the mandatory optional. You can't make the optional mandatory and then judge somebody based off of it. The truth of the matter is Canelo Alvarez absolutely positively does not have to move to fight Artur Beterbiev because everybody knows Artur Beterbiev is way too big for him. And on top of it, Artur Beterbiev is going to turn around and hurt Canelo because Canelo started at 147 and got up there, while Beterbiev has been at that weight class and probably weighed a little bit more than that when he turned pro. These are all real boxing conversations where you can figure out what's going on aside from all of this media concocted nonsense that people throw at us. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.